This is the Berman Method podcast featuring Dr. Jake Berman and physician assistant Jenni Berman. We are here to treat problems and not symptoms. Disclaimer, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and not to treat anyone or to give medical advice. If you are interested in any information that we are giving and would like to use this for yourself, we recommend that you contact your primary care physician or reach out to us and ask us questions about yourself specifically. Enjoy.
And we're rolling, baby. Here we are, halfway through the first month of the year.
Oh, my word.
The Berman Method podcast, where we're focused on sticking it to Goliath.
Treating problems and not symptoms.
Goliath being the corporate medical system, and we do not think that it's focused on treating your problem. We think it's focused on treating your symptoms.
Correct.
So we're halfway through the first month out of the year. Your Kickstart program is going very well.
It is, yes. Having a lot of success.
And my commitment to not eating cookies is also going very well.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Just had to see if you were really telling the truth.
Just 14 days, 7 more hours to go. But who's counting?
I'm not with you 8 hours each day, so I don't know.
What do you think? I've got a secret stash of cookies in my dresser or my drawer?
Probably.
My desk drawer?
Clients bring you in cookies. Cake is right around the corner. Who knows?
I'm not doing it.
Okay, I believe you.
Not doing it.
I believe you. You're doing a good job.
I did it last year.
You're doing a good job.
Cool.
Proud of you. Discipline.
Yeah, so your Kickstart program's going very well. People are getting some fast results, immediate results. People are really excited about it. So thank you to everybody that signed up for this program. And if you haven't signed up for it, there might be an opportunity for you to catch up with the second round.
Yes. Yeah. We may launch it again before spring break. So that could be the next opportunity. If we get a lot of requests, we may do it even sooner. So if you're interested, please reach out. Let us know.
All right. So I am all jacked up today because last night we were watching one of our recorded shows and 60 Minutes came on at the very end or at some point. And we're playing with Stella, so we didn't really pay attention to it. We don't ever watch the news, ever, 60 Minutes included. So we just had it as background noise. And ironically, there was this lady on there that came on saying that obesity is genetic.
Obesity is genetic. And she actually said, if your parents are obese, you have a 50 to 80% increased chance of being obese.
Right. And I'm going, are you effing kidding me? This lady's on 60 Minutes talking to the entire country. And this is the message that she's got right now. She's essentially telling you that it's not your fault.
It's not your fault and there's nothing you can do.
It's not your fault. It's nothing you can do. This is my genetics. This is what I was born with.
Right.
I lost my effing mind because I'm the more boisterous one out of the two of us. As I saw Jenni sitting over on the couch just starting to squirm a little bit. And I'm throwing my hat at the TV going, are you effing kidding me?
Right, right. I was definitely not happy about the comment that she made. And so it made me want to know more. What is she getting at? Why is she telling the whole country that it's not their fault?
And this is what it comes down to. What was the answer?
A medication.
A pharmaceutical.
Right, right.
The answer was a pharmaceutical. And this is a perfect example of us being David going against Goliath, the corporate medical system, the big pharma. They do not have your best interests in mind. They're essentially saying, it's not your fault. You were born this way. So the only option that you have is to take this chemically made up drug and put it into your body.
A chemical that you're going to have to use long term. It's not covered by insurance, so it's like $1,200 a month. if your insurance doesn't cover it, which insurance is being very, very picky on who they're covering the medication for now because so many people are trying to get it for obesity and not actually for what the medication was initially made for.
Ozempic is the name of the medication. What
Correct.
was it originally made for?
So initially, it was a stronger medication for type 2 diabetes. So diabetes mellitus type 2. And I will say we use Ozempic in our practice for those who do have refractory or resistant insulin resistance, and it does help with weight loss. So we use it for insulin resistance and diabetes for those who need it. However, the medication was initially made to help with controlling blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. But because of the effects that it has had on weight loss, more and more and more people are utilizing it solely for weight loss without having insulin resistance or diabetes. And so it's getting very difficult to even get the medication. One, it's been on a nationwide back order for a long time, but also insurance companies are being very, very strict about who they are helping to get this medication because so many people are utilizing it off-label solely for weight loss.
Using it as an easy pill, literally
Correct.
using it as an easy pill to lose weight.
Right.
So I want to be very, very clear on what we're saying right now because I don't want to come off hypocritical in any way, shape, or form. You do use it to help your clients in their journey, whether it's weight loss, insulin resistance, blood sugar instability, whatever it is. However, you are using it while you are trying to find what the underlying root cause problem is.
Right. So if we go back to the 60-minute episode and let me explain a little bit at what she was getting at is the lady that was on here who quote unquote was an obesity specialist at a pristine hospital up north, but she was saying...
Hold on, stop right there. An obesity specialist at a pristine hospital up north. I can't tell you how many times I've heard family members and clients say, I've gone to the best hospital. I've got the best surgeon in the nation at the best hospital in the country, or whatever it is. This is a perfect example of it right here. This is an obesity specialist at one of the most pristine hospitals in the country.
Right. And basically what her wording behind all of this was, our brain has a set point for our weight. So she says, this is all her wording, not mine. But she is saying that the brain has a set point for weight. And once you're at that weight for about 3 to 6 months, it sets that set point. So if you gain weight and you hold that weight gain for 3 to 6 months, that's your brain's new baseline of what your weight is going to be. In her words, the reasoning for that is because it resets 2 hormones called leptin and ghrelin, which are the hunger and satiety hormones. Ghrelin's the hunger hormone, tells the body that you're hungry, and leptin is your satiety hormone, which tells the body that you're full when you're eating. So according to her, the brain controls the leptin and the ghrelin and has that set point to where once you're obese, that's your baseline. That's what the brain has to offer you. And so her cure was to use this Ozempic medication, this chemical, to help with the body being able to control the hunger, satiety, and fat burn. Now, the side that wasn't disclosed, which is where we argue at Berman Health and Wellness, first of all, genetics are reversible. Just because you're born with certain, actually, I shouldn't say reversible, but you can turn genes on and off. You're born with a set of genes. Your genes are your genes. Your DNA is your DNA. But we have the ability to turn genes on and off based on how we're treating our body and our environment and what we're fueling our body with. So just because we have the genetic makeup of being obese doesn't mean that we are going to be obese if we treat the body appropriately for what our specific body needs. And I talk about this a lot, and then I'll let you say something. My mentor throughout my whole functional medicine career, Dr. Carolyn Cedarquist, she mentions in her book how her entire family is obese, and she has a certain amount of genetic components that tell her that she is going to be obese. And if you've ever seen her, she is far from obese. And it's because she does what her body needs to control the genetic components of obesity, controlling blood sugar, controlling the right vitamin levels, exercising appropriately so that she can maintain a healthy weight. So we have the ability to beat genetics, essentially.
Right. So now I'm going to go and be politically incorrect for a minute and say in layman's terms what you just said. Maybe not that politically incorrect. So mom and dad are both obese. They've got a baby or a kid. How many times have we seen a 5-year-old kid just so obese that we're going, how is that not child abuse? How is that not child abuse? That kid is not even 5 and he's 200 pounds.
Right.
How many times have we seen that?
Well, we just saw it on the beach this past weekend. Little girl. She wasn't little, but a young girl who was obese walked by with a supersized bag of hot Funyuns and an ice cream. And she walks by on the beach, and I was like, what are her parents letting her do?
So let me finish now. So mom and dad are both obese. Let's go along with this concept that they have the genes for obesity. They turned those genes on when they opened up that supersized bag of Funyuns.
Right.
Now they have a kid who has the same exact or similar DNA makeup as they do. So arguably this 5-year-old kid has the same genetic makeup as the parents. However, the kid was not born with those genes turned on.
Right.
Those genes were dormant.
Right.
Until the mom and dad put that damn Funyun in her mouth.
Yeah.
And then they did it again.
Right.
And then they did it again. And then they said, here, wash it down with some ice cream. And you know what? Let's stop by McDonald's on the way home. Let's get supersize this plus an ice cream sundae to wash that down. That's turning on the genes.
Right.
So yeah, they might have them. They're predisposed for obesity, but they're turning the damn things on.
Right. We have the ability to control our brain set point and our leptin and ghrelin hormones, those hunger and satiety hormones. We have the ability to control those through diet and exercise and controlling our vitamin levels without needing prescription medications. Sure, it gets to a point where those have been turned on for so long that we may need to do the dietary changes, the exercise changes, and utilize a medication in addition while we're reversing the damage. But then once we're able to reverse the damage and get the body to its new baseline, we can control that long term without having to stay on medications if you're doing the right thing for your body. That's the thing. You have to do the right thing for your body specifically. So what does your blood work show? What does your blood sugar look like? What does your insulin level look like? How is your pancreas functioning? What are your vitamin levels? And we have to treat that appropriately for your body specifically, with the right vitamins, with the right supplements, with the right diet, meaning proteins, carbohydrates, fats, the right type of exercise. This is the other thing is, genetically speaking, some individuals respond to cardiovascular exercise. Some individuals respond to strength training exercise. It depends on your genes, on what your body is going to respond to as far as fat burning goes.
What do I respond to? Cookies?
I think yeah, cookies. I don't know. Did you do 23andMe? You did, didn't you? Yeah, we did it together. I don't remember what yours showed specifically, but I think you're more of a strength training response than a cardiovascular response.
Is that why I hate cardio so much?
Well, no, you just... That's in your brain.
That's my mental block.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, every individual needs both. Every individual needs cardiovascular training and strength training. That's the bottom line, is we all need both of it, but it's a matter of, are you going to respond better as far as strength training goes to higher reps, lower weight, or are you going to respond better to higher weight and lower reps? That's individualized. But yeah, so we have to treat the body from the inside out. We have to treat the problem and not the symptom. If you have a low resting metabolic rate, meaning you burn very little calories at rest, then we have to find the right fuel to your system to be able to raise that resting metabolic rate. If your leptin and ghrelin are imbalanced, what can we do to help with balancing that while also, again, fueling the system? So we have to work to find the problem, and we may need additional help while we're finding the problem, but then we should be able to maintain the success that we have without using pharmaceuticals long term once we've treated the problem.
Okay, so again, in layman's term, I'm going to summarize the past 5 minutes of what you said in fancy words. You may utilize the pharmaceutical Ozempic while you are trying to figure out what the root cause of the problem actually is. What is causing the blood sugar instability? Is it, because the way you're going to do that is by looking at the blood work,
Right.
looking at what are you sensitive to, what are the vitamin levels or deficiencies in the blood work. And all of that is going to help you come up with what the actual cause of the problem is, while Ozempic is helping you get it under control synthetically. And then once you figure out what the problem is, the goal is for you to not need Ozempic anymore, versus the take-home message from that 60 Minutes story that went out to the entire country was that this is not your fault. You have a 50 to 80% increased likelihood of being obese if your parents were. And the solution is to take this drug.
Right. And it was almost like the Ozempic's just a magic pill. Just take this injection once a week and you're going to lose weight without making any other changes. You have to make other dietary changes. You have to be, at the end of the day, we have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, right? We have to be in a 500 calorie deficit, meaning we burn 500 more calories than we consume a day to lose a pound of fat a week. So a 500 calorie deficit a day to lose a pound of fat per week. If we're taking this Ozempic medication and not changing anything else or putting ourselves in a calorie deficit, it's not magic. Despite what 60 Minutes is telling you. I was like, oh.
This is just another example. I know it was last podcast or sometime in the recent past, I went on a rant on what WebMD said about going barefoot and how it's going to tear your plantar fascia. And I'm just going, are you effing kidding me? Mm-hmm. You're not telling the whole story.
Right.
You have to tell the whole story. The public needs to know all the information. One of the things that Jenny and myself and all of the providers that we have in our organization now, one of the most common problem that we run into is called the curse of the professional. The curse of the professional is what happens when we are so close to this thing where we see it every single day, and our knowledge on the topic is so vast where we a lot of times underestimate how valuable and how important the basics are. For example, in the physical therapy world, posture. How simple is it to pull your belly button in and lift your chest up? It's very, very simple. It's not easy. However, it is very, very simple. And a lot of times we like to overthink it and say, well, we got to strengthen these muscles in the upper back and get your core working and free up your hip flexors. Well, no. I mean, yeah, we could do that. However, the real simplicity of posture is pull your belly button in and lift your chest up. That's going to help your posture. Same thing in your world where there's so much going on and so much complexity. When you really break it down, you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. It is that simple. You must burn more than you consume. And when you burn more than you consume over an extended period of time, the result is weight loss. With all of that said, there's so much more that goes into it where you can't just starve yourself. You must maintain protein intake. You got to maintain water intake and vitamins and all this other stuff to do it the right way. Because if you don't, for example, maintain protein input, you're going to be burning muscles,
Right.
not fat.
Breaking down muscle, not fat.
We don't want to break down muscle. We want to break down fat. So you got to maintain the protein level so that you burn fat and not muscles. And at the end of the day, the public needs to know the whole entire story. That's why we're David going against Goliath, where this message was pharmaceutically backed and it was aired out to the entire country because it came from a specialist at one of the most pristine hospitals in the entire nation, saying that the answer to your obesity is this drug.
Right. And I'll say one more thing on it is we had talked about how Ozempic was or is initially made to treat diabetes type 2 / insulin resistance. So what this means is that your blood sugar is unstable. Your body does not have the ability to control your blood sugar throughout the day. So the pancreas releases insulin to try to stabilize blood sugar and to help you to function on a day-to-day basis. The Ozempic is helping with controlling blood sugar so that the body releases less insulin so that we can actually utilize food for fuel and burn fat. So again, all things that can be done through diet and exercise, really. But what was not mentioned throughout this episode is how many individuals have insulin resistance. 1 in 3 individuals over the age of 50 have some sort of insulin resistance, meaning their blood sugar is unstable at some point. And that's a lot. 1 in 3 is a huge number of individuals over 50 with insulin resistance. So why not have a whole 60-minute episode about treating insulin resistance rather than saying, oh, you just need to take this medication, which is going to essentially treat your insulin resistance. But again, now you're utilizing a synthetic pharmaceutical long-term to control it when majority of the time we can control insulin resistance through diet and exercise. I would say out of our whole practice, we might have 1% using Ozempic, whereas the other 99% of clients in our practice are treating their insulin resistance with diet and exercise adjustments that we're recommending. So it's not, they're telling you to just take this magic pill to lose weight, but they're not telling you why it's helping you to lose weight and what you could actually do instead of using this synthetic medication.
Love it. So I want to leave everybody with this last thought because we're going to wrap things up here in a minute. What are you currently using in your life right now as a crutch or an excuse? So in this particular episode, we have been talking about people using genetics as an excuse to be obese. It's the same exact thing as using an MRI as an excuse for your back pain. This same exact weekend that we're talking about, watching that obese girl walk down the beach, one of my buddies had his brother in town, and this is a very high level jiu-jitsu, competes at jiu-jitsu at the world level. He's in his mid 40s and had a back flare up 3 months ago. And this, we're talking about somebody that was competing at the world level in jiu-jitsu, 45-ish. And 3 months ago, his back flared up on him. Never had back pain before. It was so bad that he could not move. So, of course, he went and got an MRI, and the MRI showed a herniated disc, L4, L5, blah, 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 blah. And 3 months later, he ends up on our boat, and we're out on the beach, and we end up talking about this whole thing. And, of course, I couldn't help myself, but I did a very gross screen real quick, and I said, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? And then, of course, he failed all of these things. And then I said, okay, now I want you to do this. I want you to engage this muscle. and he magically passed everything. And you could just see his mind was being blown, because here he is thinking that he's now a victim. I'm using words right now. He did not say this, but he was thinking that, how am I ever going to get back to the level that I was just 3 months ago? I've got this thing that's on my MRI. So using that as a crutch to not be able to perform at the level that you want, meaning what else is going on in your life? Have you always had a bad back? Do you have a rotator cuff tear that shows up on your MRI and you are trying to avoid this, that, and the other? What are some other things that people use as crutches?
I mean, similar to what you're saying, but my knees are bad. My back is bad, so I can't exercise, so I can't lose weight.
Love that one.
Well,
knees.
We can do a lot to control weight without having to spend 3 hours in the gym or an hour running outside if you have knee pain.
Yeah. Well, I haven't said this one in a long time. What's one of the best things you can do for knee pain?
Strengthen your butt.
Squats. Seriously, every time I tell somebody that you should do squats when you have knee pain, they go, oh no, that's going to kill my knees. Yeah, it's going to kill your knees if you do it wrong.
Right.
If you're not using your butt and your glutes aren't firing, then your knee joint is going to be grinding.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you do use the right muscles, the squat is actually an unloading motion for the knee, not a grinding motion for the knee.
Right.
So you're using your bad knees as an excuse to not do cardio. You're using your bad back as an excuse to not play golf. You're using your genetic makeup as an excuse to be a plus size.
Right.
What crutch are you using right now? Do you want to get rid of it? Do you want to be done with it? It's 2023. We're halfway through the first month. Let's do this.
Or the one that we see a lot in our practice is, I have to be on this immunosuppressant because I have psoriasis.
Oh, boy.
Why do you have psoriasis? You're 30 years old. You should not be on an immunosuppressant. We need to figure out the problem, not the cause. And I can say this flat out like that because I had horrible psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis. Like, I was on oral steroids. And no one could figure out my problem until we figured out my gut issue. And now I haven't been on medications, shampoos, orals, anything for my seborrheic dermatitis for almost 10 years. I haven't been on anything for it. And it hasn't flared up either.
Not one time has it flared up.
Nope.
I'll never forget it. When we first started dating, after Jenny would finish blow drying her hair after a shower, there was a ball of hair on the ground. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is just like Brady.
Brady is my lab that sheds nonstop. But I mean, I wouldn't even wear my hair up in a ponytail my freshman year of college because my psoriasis and, seborrheic dermatitis is kind of like psoriasis of the scalp was so bad that if I wore my hair up in a ponytail, you could see it because I had bald spots and my hair was so flaky and my scalp was disgusting. It was raw. I wouldn't even wear my hair in a ponytail because of it. And that was while I was on oral steroids. Fast forward, treat your gut. Haven't had any issues. So again, this all is just coming back to the excuses as your excuse of being on an immunosuppressant or not being able to do particular things is because of a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis or the diagnosis of Crohn's disease or the diagnosis of psoriasis. What is the problem? What is causing that? And a lot of times it's our gut and the food we're putting into our system that can be treating all that.
Love it. So what are you using as a crutch? I hope this episode pisses you off. Do something about it. We're halfway through the first month of the year. That means that you've got 11 and a half more months to go before we got a whole nother year. What do you want to be different in your life a year from today than it is right now?
Right.
Anything else?
I like it.
Good?
Yeah.
All right.
Ciao for now.
See ya.
Thank you for subscribing on your social media and podcast platforms to the Berman Method. Dr. Jake Berman with Berman Physical Therapy and Jenni Berman, Physician Assistant with Berman Health and Wellness. You can find more information on our website, www.bermanpt.com for physical therapy, bermanpt.com/wellness for the health and wellness. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and on your podcast platform. So be sure to follow us, like us, subscribe to us. And if you would like any further information, definitely visit our website and reach out to us. You may also find our free reports on the websites as well, where you can download this free information for yourself. Have a great day.